Here we have the basic compact industrial reverse osmosis system. Basically, it's all the essential bits to operating a reverse osmosis system built onto a small frame. It has most of the necessities, but it doesn't have a lot of extra bells and whistles. If you're looking for something that you want to install and just leave, we rather recommend its larger brother. But overall, this is a nice and easy solution to an RO system. Here's a quick run through of the system. First, we start with our water feed in at the big blue connector at the beginning. Then there's a pressure gauge, followed by a solenoid valve to control water in. Then the high pressure pump, which picks up the pressure for the RO membrane. And then that's followed by a pressure gauge to see what your pressure after the high pressure pump is. The little boxes you see there are the pressure switches controlling the system, and then the pipe continues on around the back as it feeds into the RO membranes themselves. The flow goes up the one membrane and then down the other membrane on the other side. Then we get to probably the most important part, which is the wastewater. Here's quite a few things. There's a pressure gauge, a solenoid valve for flushing, and a valve where you adjust the wastewater flow. Then from here, we go directly to the drain connection where you feed out. Then we jump to the top of the unit where you'd actually connect your clean water connection or your product water connection out. Okay, let's go into a little bit more detail about this system. First, we start with installing the membranes. The membranes are installed at the top of the membrane housings where you'd need an Allen key to open them up, and it's very important that the V-shaped seal on the membranes is pointing, the open end is pointing towards the side which the water is flowing from. On the front panel, you've got an on-off switch for the system as well as a controller. And the controller has LED lights indicating where a problem might be or what the unit is actually busy with at the moment. Inside of the control panel, you'll find all the electrics, the main switches to turn it on and off, as well as the relays and contactors. At the bottom, there's a nice little guide to show you where to connect up what, but basically all the way to the left, you will see a connection where you put in your power. Next to it is an open connection to put a feed pump, and then all the way to the right at the bottom is a connection for a level switch that would control the system's on and off switching depending on the level of the product water tank. The low pressure switch is set to under 1 bar, so it'll switch off if the pressure drops, while the high pressure switch is set to turn off the system if it goes over 10 bar. The blue adjust valve is the only real thing you'd need to set on the system. This controls the ratio between product water and wastewater. And basically, you'd always want some wastewater as you'd want to be able to flush the membranes. If you close this valve all the way, you're going to destroy a set of membranes, and this can be very expensive. Basically, what you want to start with is roughly about 2 parts wastewater to 1 part product water, and then you can start working your way back from there and just keep checking it with a TDS meter. If you find that the TDS is starting to climb, it means you've closed this valve too much and you need to open it a bit more. In addition to the blue adjust valve, there's also a solenoid valve on this line. Basically what this does is on startup it flushes a bit of water across the membrane just to try and get rid of any sediment that is stuck on there. If you find that your mineral content keeps increasing, even if you have running at quite a high wastewater ratio, you might need to manually open it up to flush it properly or send the membranes in for reconditioning or replace them. If your feed pressure is too high, say over 3 bar, you might find that the system keeps tripping out on high pressure. This little adjust valve on the center of the high pressure pump at the bottom, with it you can slightly restrict the amount of flow that the high pressure pump gives out. So if you find that on the pressure gauge towards the right you're constantly hitting 10 bar, which is the one on the gauge, then you can actually restrict it a little bit with this setting, but it is quite dangerous, as if you set it in the wrong direction you may get extremely high pressure and actually blow up part of the piping on the system. We strongly recommend talking to one of our consultants to find out whether this would be the right system for you and whether RO is the right process for you. There's quite a few options we can offer. but it's difficult to explain everything online. So if you're looking at spending this level of money on capital equipment, we strongly recommend talking to one of our consultants to make sure that you're getting the correct thing for your needs. So overall, we'd consider this sort of a mid-range unit. We've got the very manual basic units, which are significantly cheaper, and we've got this one's bigger brother, which is a proper industrial one, which has got a lot of extra features added into it. But overall, this is a very, very nice setup if you're looking for a small RO system for home or small industrial purposes.